Hello everybody, welcome back to another Python video and the first video in our series on pillow image processing. So the focus of this video is mostly just to show you how to open an image and also to get you used to finding files in different folders, directories, that kind of thing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import OS. This stands for operating system. This comes with Python, you don't need to install it. So I'm going to import OS, and the other thing I'm going to do is say from PIL import image. This is with a capital I. Now, if you haven't seen our video on installing Pillow on your computer, I highly recommend you check it out. How you install it is a little bit different than what we're used to, but assuming that you've already done that, we can run this cell, and we can see here, no errors, looks like everything's going well. So first thing I want to show you is well, how do we open an image? And the most basic way is just to make sure that wherever you're working, whatever folder you're in, the image you want to open is already there. So as an example, I'm going to open my desktop, and it looks like the folder where I'm working is gone. So let me open it really quick. So right now we're in this pillow image processing, and let's see. Here's the picture in my folder. Here's the notebook that I'm currently working in. So notice I have the image in the same folder as my Jupyter notebook. So what I can do is I can say image.open, and then as a string I pass the name of my image. So let's say I want to open ashlake.jpg, and I can see it opens here. So maybe you're having a little bit of trouble figuring out where you're currently working. So this is why we imported OS. One thing I can do is I can say os.get CWD. This stands for current working directory, and this is going to tell you exactly where you are. So if you aren't sure what folder you're working in, you can see this is the path to that folder. So instead of just storing your images in the same folder as your Jupyter notebook, what's a little bit nicer to do is to create a separate folder called images, or you can really call it whatever you want, but I tend to always call these things images. And within that folder, you put all of the pictures that you need for your project. So you can see here, I have a subfolder called images, excuse me, and inside I have more images. So one thing I can do is I can say os.listdir for list directory, and I can say, okay, images, and this isn't, like this images in quotes here isn't something native to kind of image processing or anything like that. It's not some way of finding images. This is literally just the name of the folder I have. If you had called it Math9, for instance, you would put Math9 here. So if I do this, this tells me all of the files that I have in that folder. It doesn't have to be files either. They could be other directories, that kind of thing. If I wanted to see what about all of the files and directories in the current folder, I can say os.listdir, and you can see here I have my images directory. Here's the Ashlake image that we opened here. This is typically a hidden folder. On my computer I have hidden folders displayed, this as well. And then this here is the Jupyter notebook that we're currently working in. So if we look here, when we look at the JPEGs that I have in this images folder, what if I wanted to open one of these? So first thing I'm going to show you is a mistake. So if I tried something like image.open, and if I said something like anorlando.jpg, let's see what happens. So it's saying here, no such file or directory. So what's happening is it doesn't know to go to the images folder, it's just looking in the current folder that I'm in. So remember, it has to step into the images folder and then find this picture. So sorry, I had to pause and restart the video just because one of my cats knocked something over. So I had to go check it out. Everything's okay. As we were talking about, there's an issue with just calling image.open for this Anne Orlando picture, because remember, it's in a separate folder. So that's the issue we're getting here. Now, the way that I could actually kind of get to this file is, well, remember, if I look here, this is kind of how the file paths are written. I could do this / and then type the name. But if you're on a Windows computer, I believe the file paths are done with the /. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a cumbersome way to kind of get these file paths. But the benefit is it'll work regardless of what operating system you're on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say os.path.join. And what are the two things I want to join into a path name? I want to say images, comma, and then my Anne Orlando photo. So I run this and notice it gives me a string images/anorlando.jpg. I'm going to save this with the variable s for string. And then what I can do is I can say image.opens. So here's the image. We'll actually do some image processing in the next couple of videos, so we'll change pixels, that kind of thing. But for now, like I said, we just want to focus on how can we actually open images and find images in our file system. So maybe last thing I want to show you in this video is how could I get all of the files that are JPEGs in a folder, for instance. So one thing I could do is I could say x for x in os.list directory. Let's say I want to get everything in my image folder that ends in JPEG. So images, and what do I want? I want if. Now, I'm going to show you two different ways. One is kind of less Pythonic, one is more Pythonic. So kind of, what did I say? I want them to end in .jpg. So I could say, well, if the last three kind of characters are equal to JPG, then I want it. So let's run it. And I can see here, I know there's two photos in that directory, so this is looking good. But what's a little bit more Pythonic of a way, I could say x for x in os.list directory images. And I can say if, and then I could say x.ends with JPEG. And here they are. So I think this is a good place to stop the video. In the next video, we'll be talking about the relationship between NumPy arrays and images. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.